set to go tonight, and Jay Happ gets us started with strike one to Rougned Odor. Good to have you with us tonight up here in Canada. Rangers and Blue Jays final of this 4-game series. And the left-hander bounces one to the Rangers leadoff man. Odor, 4 hits and 14 tries in this series. But has done a real nice job in that leadoff spot. It's 2-1.
Well, Jay Happ, kind of a stabilizing piece in this Toronto order. He had pitched in Toronto for 3 different years, and then went over to Seattle, and as we mentioned, Pittsburgh last year. Got himself together, became very confident in what he was doing as a starter. And now that he's come back to Toronto, he really has solidified the starting rotation for the Blue Jays. A very competent left-hander. He is a very consistent left-hander in that he has 4 pitches that he throws for strikes. You have to go beat him. He very rarely is going to beat himself.
Hard bouncer up the middle, but Tulowitzki positioned well, able to make the play. 1 out in the first. Take a look at the Rangers starting lineup tonight, presented by Southwest Airlines. We just saw Odor. Following him, Nomar Mazara, then Adrian Beltre at third base. Prince Fielder in the cleanup spot. Ian Desmond, Mitch Moreland, Ryan Rua. And then the bottom of the order getting starts in this series, Brian Holiday and Hanser Alberto. Mazara takes strike one from the left-hander Jay Happ. 6th in the league and highest among rookies with that .325 average. Broken bat flare, and that one drops in. Base hit to right for Mazara. That's his 5th hit in the series.
Well, they make more bats, so you don't have to worry about replacing that one. You'll sacrifice that bat for a base hit. And when Nomar struck this ball, he had no idea where the ball went. He saw the end of the bat flying into the stands, and he wasn't going to take off. He said, "Oh, I got to go." Saw that ball floating out to right field.
Wow, that's good fortune right there. He spent a lot of time waiting to figure that out. But that ball just fluttered its way out into right field. He's on, and Beltre will take ball 1. 2 for 12 this week in Toronto. Beltre at .286 for the season, but he's had some success against Jay Happ. 2-0. Rangers have gotten off to good starts in the series. The first inning and second inning have been pretty kind to them. It's the last couple innings that have been the bugaboo. And Mazara at first. And it's now 2-1 to Beltre. Taking a look at the Ford leaderboard. Well, Rangers have fared quite well against lefties. How about that? Top in the American League. Two balls, 2 strikes on Beltre. It was funny because Bannister today in his session with the media, a lot of questions about the lineup and specific individuals in there. I mean, there were 4 lefties in the lineup, and he made the point several times. He said, look, I feel really good about our left-handed hitters against Jay Happ. I just feel like they'll do well against him. Bouncer left side, and Donaldson goes to a slide to grab it. The relay from Barney not in time. Wow, that would have been some kind of double play.
Yeah, you don't see a double play started very often with a third baseman lying or sitting down. That's a pretty good play by Donaldson over there. Good reactions to him, just losing his feet. I don't know how. I don't think he practiced that throw very much, and I'm impressed that Donaldson was able to make that throw right where it's supposed to be to Darwin Barney.
The Blue Jays probably reviewing this right now in their clubhouse to see if it's worth contesting. I think they're going to go ahead and pass on that. Doesn't take away from the fact that was a pretty nifty play. So Mazara erased, but it does get Prince Fielder to the plate in the first inning with a runner on. And he takes strike one. Of course, Prince, with his years in the National League, would have seen a fair amount of Jay Happ in his days with the Phillies and the Astros. And he has pretty decent numbers against Happ. In a hole here now, 0-2. You don't always get the sample size is worth a whole lot, but 9 for 25 in their head-to-heads. The lefty's 0-2. And Fielder will see another one. Prince with the average at 202 for the year, has a couple of hits in this series. There aren't big numbers to talk about for really any hitter on either side. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and that wild pitch gets Beltre into scoring position. So Martin just couldn't handle that curveball. Looked like he spiked it.
Yeah, while the ball out in front of home plate, anytime a ball bounces out in front of home plate, it's tough, especially when it's a breaking ball, for the catcher to really have a good idea of which way it's going to go. You're just trying to get your whole body, get as big as you possibly can, and keep that thing in front. And unfortunately for Russell Martin, it kicked off to the side, didn't hit him square. So Adrian in scoring position now for Prince.
He'll shoot this one into left field, base hit. Beltre rounds third, and he'll score. And once again, the Rangers able to capitalize in the first inning. They lead 1-0.
And once again, Prince Fielder taking a ball away from him, driving it the other way for the RBI base hit. And he's probably done that now half a dozen times this year already. And it's always been with a runner in scoring position. He'll just take the ball the other way if you let him do it. And that's not a very good job of executing the scouting report, I wouldn't think. I mean, that's got to be pretty common knowledge that Fielder will do that, but Happ allowed him to go out and drive that ball the other way for the RBI.
Give him a team high 18 RBIs now, and Ian Desmond hits one hard but foul for strike one. So that wild pitch got Beltre to second, and Fielder does what he does so well. Just takes what the opposition will give him for that RBI. Happ this year, now I'm gonna have to go digging through the notes, but he has been really stingy in the first inning. And it's not often that the opposition is able to get to him at all that first time up. His 0-2. Bouncer short, and Tulowitzki with plenty of time, and that ends the inning. The Rangers strike with 2 out, and they get the first run of the game. Here comes Holland. Chance Fielder with an RBI single in the top of the first. Let's take a look at this Toronto lineup tonight. 14 and 15 overall. They've shaken it up a little bit with Kevin Pillar taking over the leadoff spot. And then, as usual, Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion. Justin Smoak's been the toughest out. Tulowitzki. And then the bottom of the order, Russell Martin, Darwin Barney, and Ezekiel Carrera for Toronto. Holland's first pitch up and away for a ball.
Well, Derek Holland, his sixth start. You mentioned last time out, 6 shutout innings against the Los Angeles Angels. And he is working on one thing that he really wants to change. Derek's been pretty satisfied with what he's taken out there, and the numbers would suggest that he should be satisfied with it, but he said he's not quite getting ahead of guys the way he would like to. Falling behind a little bit with too much frequency, so he's going to try and change that, and right out of the chute he gets ahead of Pillar.
Now 2-1 as that one skips away from Holiday. Pillar has 4 hits in this series, takes over for Michael Saunders, who had that spot for the first 3 games. And it's 3-1. And it's interesting because we made the note last night that he just does not do a great job of drawing walks, and he got a big walk last night. He will run the count full here. It was just his 3rd walk of the season. So I guess after that, you think to yourself, now there's a leadoff man. Get him up there. Yeah, and there you go, leading off this season. It hasn't gone well for him, but he's had a nice series down lower in the order. Hammers this one, but that is a long, loud foul ball.
And I think those numbers, Dave, can be a little deceiving. I think what's happened to Kevin Pillar is he started swinging the bat better. It didn't matter where he was hitting the lineup. He was going to get hotter, and it happened to be in the number 8 spot.
Flares this one into left. And Pillar is on for the Blue Jays. And that is his 5th hit in this series. Let's take a look at the Rangers defense tonight, delivered to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. Ryan Rua with a 2nd consecutive day in left field. Desmond in center, and Nomar Mazara out and right. Beltre 3rd as always. Hanser Alberto. Great bubbles yesterday. Gets the start at short. Odor at 2nd. Moreland 1st. And then Brian Holiday doing the catching tonight for Derek Holland. Shot towards center. Desmond will have to take it on a hop. But he holds Pillar to the 1 base. He stops at 2nd. Back-to-back singles though for the Blue Jays.
Well, Donaldson, as he likes to do, going up there ready to swing the bat, and he gets it early in the count. He would not let Holland get ahead of him early, and that's one thing you got to be careful about what you say publicly. Derek Holland said publicly, hey, I'm going to try and get ahead of hitters, throw strike 1. Well, that's fine. I mean, it's a nice goal to have, but it gets out there and all of a sudden it gets to the other team too, and you get hitters that can do something about that. You're better off just kind of playing a little bit coy, a little shy, and just not say too much and go out and do your thing anyway.
Well, he's been attacking this inning, and the Blue Jays have come right after him. And he starts Bautista with a backdoor breaking ball. Jose Bautista 1 for 12 in the first 3 games with 4 strikeouts. Holland comes in on him. It's 1-1. Bautista scuffling along to a .222 average in this early portion of the season. But he has found his way on base, leads the American League in walks. 2 balls and a strike, and that one squirts away from Holiday. Both runners advance. Pillar now at 3rd, and Donaldson in scoring position at 2nd.
Looked like that ball fooled Brian Holiday a bit. It looked like to be a pretty breakable, or pretty blockable pitch. That hit the corner of the plate. Take it back, and he expected it to come up a bit, and hitting the corner to kind of skid it under his glove.
Well, that's a big play, just as the wild pitch in the top of the first allowed the Rangers to score a run. Here's a 2-1. Everything down so far on Bautista.
Yeah, now Derek's got to be careful. You're looking down the barrel of a loaded gun here. You're staring at a possibility of a big inning. You have to do some fancy pitching to limit the damage now.
Bouncer wide of the bag, and it's a full count on the big swing into Jose Bautista. And this lineup for the Blue Jays last year was so much thump. Preponderance of it coming from the guy at second base, Donaldson, the man at the plate, Bautista. And Holland loses him on ball 4. They're loaded up. One would never advocate adding base runners as early as the first inning, but
well, you had the opportunity to be careful with Bautista if you chose to. If Derek felt really good about what he took to the mound with him and his success against Bautista, yeah, go after him on 3 and 2. Throw whatever kind of pitch you want to, the one you feel is best suited to that opportunity. But if you lose him, you lose him, and loads the bases up with nobody out. It just depends on the pitcher's attitude out there. He's the one that has to dictate in the first inning whether you are careful or whether you are aggressive on a particular hitter.
Remember, Encarnacion has seen him well over the years, and he lines this one out to the gap, and that's going to be extra bases. Pillar's in. Donaldson scores. Here comes Bautista. 3 runs on the double by Encarnacion.
Well, Blue Jays very definitely an aggressive ball club, and I don't think it's any accident they've come out here. 3 of the first 4 hitters that Holland has faced have swung at the first pitch. And Encarnacion, who doesn't normally swing at the first pitch, went ahead and got a fastball up and away, and he drove it to that gap for a bases clearing double.
Tough start for Holland. Encarnacion may be finding his stroke lately too. He finished strong last night, and that's a big start tonight for the Blue Jays designated hitter. Here's Justin Smoak. Smoak's been the toughest out in this series. 6 hits and 11 at bats. Average climbing to .271 for the year for him. 1-1. Smoak, the guy who had the solo home run in the 9th inning on Tuesday night, and then came back in extra innings and hit the walk-off home run. First of back-to-back walk-off victories for the Blue Jays in this series. And hits this one a ton, high in the air right field, but got underneath it a little too much. Mazara has a good arm, but no chance in catching Encarnacion. He'll advance to third on the fly ball out. Taking some pretty healthy rips.
Yeah, they're pretty well zeroed in. And you know, it was only a matter of time before this Blue Jay team kind of caught fire, got back to their accustomed attack mode, and it looks like the 2 walk-off wins that they had might have awakened them, and that's not good news for Derek Holland and the Rangers.
Here's one of the bats. It still may be in a bit of a slumber. Tulowitzki 1 for 13 in this series with 5 strikeouts. We'll play that infield in, not all the way in on the edge of the turf, but in enough. They want to try and cut down that run at the plate. Nice play by Holland, and there are 2 down.
Tulowitzki just a little bit out in front. That ball moving away from him slightly and got the tapper on one hop back to Holland. Got that right off the end of the bat. Nice pitch by Derek.
Russell Martin came into this series in a massive scuffle. But he maybe more than anybody has figured it out and shoots this one into center. Base hit scores Encarnacion, 4-1 Blue Jays.
First pitch rocket. Now you got to recognize that. You recognize what they're doing. Nothing wrong with throwing a strike in the first pitch. But when you see people going up there and swinging rather lustily at the first pitch, you got to change what you're throwing. You got to throw a changeup first pitch, a breaking ball first pitch, throw it in if you want to first pitch. Anything that rather than just a get-ahead fastball. And it looks like that's what the Blue Jays are feasting on here at the first.
Boy, that one was straight center of the plate. Martin, his fourth hit, and he hasn't played that much in this series. So 4-1 Blue Jays, and now the 8th batter of the inning. Here's Darwin Barney. And he's swinging first pitch, lines that one into right field. Martin had a good start, but he'll stop at second. And the Blue Jays will send everybody to the plate in the first inning.
The target set low, and it was low. Out over the middle of the plate, though. And all Darwin Barney had to do was get the barrel of the bat to it, which he did for the base hit.
Holland not out of trouble yet. A couple of runners out there with 2 out. And Ezekiel Carrera getting the start in left field today. The 9th batter of the inning. Lefty on lefty. Don comes in on him a little bit this time. Edwin Encarnacion, a 3-run double. And then with 2 outs, Russell Martin got him home with a base hit straight up the middle. Collins 1-0. I think, Buzz, and just a quick double check the book here. This is the first time, right, that the Rangers have trailed in this series at any time in the 9th or 10th inning.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
2-1. They led all the way on Monday on their way to a 2-1 victory. They led most of the night on Tuesday until the 9th inning when it was tied up, and then ultimately won in the 10th. And then yesterday lost in walk-off fashion. 2-1. Still some meat on these bones. 2 men out there and a 3-1 count. And Carrera finds pay dirt in center field. Martin got a good start. He'll score from second. 5-1 Toronto.
Well, not sharply hit, but when things start to turn against you, boy, it's tough to put a finger in the dike once that flood starts. Get behind 3-1, and you have to throw a strike, and Derek did pretty much in the middle, and Carrera able to drive home the 5th run of the inning.
Kevin Pillar for the 2nd time. He started this inning with a base hit to left field. Breaking ball for strike one. There you go. Early activity for the Rangers. One thing that we have not seen this year has been a starter run from a game prior to the 5th inning, right? 6th inning.
Yep. 28 consecutive starts, 5 innings or more this year. Go back to last year, it's been 38 consecutive starts.
Could be in jeopardy tonight. 2-1 to Pilar. We talked most of the pregame show about the consistency so far, not just from the staff, but from Derek Holland. I mean, he has done a very nice job in his first 5 starts. But he was run into a buzzsaw tonight. 2-1 pitch. And the trouble continues.
Yeah, and these starts are bound to happen. Everybody has them during the course of a year, and you just have to find a way out. And if you're Derek now, you understand the difficulty the bullpen has out there. They've got some guys that really could use an extra night off also, but you got to find a way to kind of suck it up a little bit and get this ball game later on. Get into the 5th inning at least, or 6th inning if you possibly can. But you got to put a stop to this right here and right now in the 1st inning.
It's got Darwin Barney at second. Carrera at first. 3-1 to Pilar. Popped up. Desmond coming on, and that should do it. It does. Inning over, but 5 runs for the Blue Jays. Rangers have an uphill climb tonight.
The 2nd inning, we welcome you back to Rogers Center. John Radigan here. The perceived strength of this team at the beginning of the year was the lineup and, of course, the starting pitching. Rather, the bullpen. The starting pitching, though, has been the strength thus far, the 1st inning notwithstanding. Ian Desmond knows it's all going to even out in the end.
I always kind of look at baseball in like a sense of like hockey, where you do like line changes. You know, like throughout the course of the season, you know, the starting pitching is going to have to carry you for a little bit, and then there's going to be stretches where the bullpen has to carry you and lock down those 1-run games, and then there's going to be the time where the offense takes the lead and we start putting up so many runs that we give both of them a rest. Right now, the starting pitching has kind of kept us where we want to be. The offense has kind of poked its head in here and out, and same with the bullpen. But
yeah, and they're going to need those lots of runs, I guess, to climb out of this hole. I did love, though, that Ian used a hockey reference here in the home of hockey, a lot like line changes. Let's see if we get a little line change going here, guys.
I'm telling you, you stay here long enough, you can't help it. Thanks, John. I mean, I was starting to look for apartments earlier today. This is the fourth day for the Rangers in Toronto. And if you don't read, hear, or learn something about hockey while you're here, well,
I think you pick it up by osmosis, can't you? Just walking down the street.
Seeps right in. 3-1 to Mitch Moreland. Maple Leafs just earned the first pick, winning the lottery. That was Monday night. Here's a fly ball center field, and Pilar puts a squeeze on it, one away. Well, Jay Happ, I feel like we've been saying this like every series we do. The best pitcher you know nothing or hear nothing about, but his run now dating back to last year, 15 games, trails in terms of earned run average only Jake Arrieta and Clayton Kershaw, who are two pretty good pitchers.
Yeah, he's really found a home on the mound, and he put it together when he was with Seattle. According to him, his estimation is that it got going when he was with Seattle, and then on the trade deadline,
line out by
line drive. On the trade deadline, he went over to the Pirates, and he said being in the middle of a pennant race really energized him, and he felt great. So the confidence that he built up with the Mariners carried over to Pittsburgh, and he went 7-2 for the Pirates down the stretch, pitched in some critical games.
I feel like he kind of got lost for a while. When he was coming up with the Phillies, he was pretty highly touted. It was right about the same time Hamels was coming up, and they're feeling pretty excited about both. And it just wasn't really coming together for him. He ends up traded to the Houston Astros. They were on their way into the tank, and he was kind of roller coastering it down with them. So maybe that's a trick, right? Just getting that situation where the competitive juices flow again. Ryan Holiday bats for the first time tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a real fine line, I think, Dave, between feeling confident about yourself and then translating that into helping a ball club win. It takes the ball club being pretty good to be able to do that too. So there's a fine line there between, am I being ridiculous to have confidence that I could do it, or is this going to pay off for somebody down the road? Winning for yourself is not very good. It's kind of an exercise in futility after a while. But Happ had the best of both worlds last year, and it's paid off for him.
Really bright young man, 33 years old. And this is a little high this time to Holiday.
Yeah, he was at Northwestern for 3 years, so I would think that he's got quite a bit between the years.
And one of those thoughtful lefties. And he gets a strikeout of Holiday, his first strikeout of the night, and it completes a 1-2-3 inning. Blue Jays with a big early lead. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Bottom of the second inning. Holland will deal with the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Blue Jays after falling behind 5-1 with a very impressive bottom of the first for these Blue Jays hitters. Donaldson had singled and scored a run in that 10-batter inning. A good curveball for strike 2. Well, we were told between innings just the second time this year that the Blue Jays got loose for as many as 5 runs in an inning. I'm no Nostradamus, but I'm gonna bet it won't be the last.
I think you're right. If there's a wager available in Vegas on that line, I think I would take it.
1-2 to Donaldson.
Well, what you worry about, I think, Dave, you have to remember the Rangers have 3 more games of these Blue Jays next week in Arlington. You hope they haven't just completely awakened so that they're going to be a terror again. And they were a terror the last half of last year. They terrorized pitchers no matter what uniform they had on.
They dominated down the stretch after making a couple of moves at the trade deadline, including the acquisition of Troy Tulowitzki, which was a big part of it. Donaldson fighting up there, and you saw the numbers there a moment ago. One of the best in the American League, or at least most effective to this point against left-handed pitching. .417 batting average against lefties. And that average actually has gone up just a smidge with his single in the first inning tonight. So last year, the Blue Jays, they were not great going into that All-Star break, right around 500, maybe a game under. Made some moves. They brought in David Price, brought in Troy Tulowitzki. Made some smaller moves for guys like Mark Lowe and Ben Revere. 2-2. That ball's hammered down the left field line. Will it stay fair? It does not. Another foul ball up the bat of Donaldson. Well, they went 40-18 down the stretch and just blew away the Yankees to win the American League East. Donaldson led the way with 41 homers. Bautista had his 40. Encarnacion had 39. That's almost unfair. That guy liked it. John Gibbons, their manager. You win a lot of games when you get that kind of production out of 3 consecutive hitters. Full count now on Donaldson. Overall, they ended up scoring 891 runs. No other team even scored as many as 800 runs last season. So they were a juggernaut. 3-2. And the pop-up first base side might be playable for Moreland. He has room. And indeed, that is the first out of the inning. Lengthy at bat, but a good result there for Derek Holland. Here's Bautista. Walked in the first inning. Holland going right after him.
Yeah, he started him off first time with a breaking ball that Bautista took and came back with that fastball and nailed down the inside corner.
Popped this one up. Back of second base. Hanser is out there to make the play. 2 away.
Derek again able to get that ball in on the fist of Bautista to get the little pop-up. That's what Derek has been pretty consistent at doing that for the last year and a half now. I guess a year and a half worth of pitching is pitching inside to right-hander, steadily staying in there, and hasn't really gotten burned too often on that.
First pitch to Encarnacion. Called strike, and Edwin maybe not real sure. Fox track showed it to be a little bit in. Trying to begin a little bit further this time, and we'll get the call from Sean Barber, our plate umpire tonight. Holland's 1-1 pitch. Staying in there. Barber on with Corey Blazer, our crew chief Sam Holbrook, and Rob Drake down at third. Breaking ball, ripped but foul. Steve, right two. A chance to complete a 1-2-3 bounce back inning for Holland. His pitch on the way. And Encarnacion will see one more. Encarnacion had the 3-run double in the first. Fights this one off. And Holland already over 50 pitches for the night. Not quite through 2 innings. It's a contract year for Encarnacion. And he's looking to put up some big offensive numbers. He draws a walk. Holland will have to contend with Smoke. Encarnacion, I think, realizing this could be one of the last real shots at a big long-term deal. He's 33 years old. Has proven that he is a consistent power source in the American League. Smoke right off the end of the bat. And Odor able to charge it, make the play, and in the inning. So 2-out walk doesn't hurt Holland. That sends us to the third in a 4-run game. Advantage of $10 Tuesdays. White Sox Rangers, well, tickets are $10. Add on a $10 meal deal when purchasing online. Plus, all fans on Tuesdays will receive $10 parking. Go to texasrangers.com/special to secure your $10 Tuesday tickets for May 10th. Third inning as Hanser Alberto leads things off. Rangers trailing 5-1, and Jay Happ jumps ahead of him 0-2.
Yeah, Happ, another one of those guys, when he gets on a roll, everything is right down at the knees. I mean, every pitch he throws, it seems like. And he, as a result, you mentioned the double play balls that he has induced, and that's the reason.
He gets a lot of ground balls like that one, but couldn't complete the play, and it'll be an infield hit for Hanser, I assume. Of course, we should wait for the official scoring decision.
I would think so. Pretty good pitch that really got inside on Hanser Alberto, and it's just like a swinging butt. Not much that Happ can do with that.
So a leadoff base runner after the dribbler of the hit, and it brings up Rougned Odor.
Let's see if the Rangers can take that good fortune and turn it into something here.
Odor grounded out in the first inning, 283 average. Very aggressive, and that aggression has actually served him pretty well in that leadoff spot. I always think of that spot being one of great patience and selectivity. He's in a whole 0-2, but he has thrived lately.
I'd still like to see him be able to walk a little bit more if he chose to. You know, if he's not going to hit 450 or whatever it is for the past 6 or 7 days, you know, you got to mix a walk in there every once in a while just to help the ball go about when you don't have the good fortune to get base hits. That's what quality leadoff guys, no matter how well they're swinging the bat or how poorly, they find a way to get on base. And they also make the opposing pitcher work very hard every time they're up there.
He chases one for strike 3, and it's the first out of the inning. Let's head back to the studios. Dana Larson standing by with a Chevy game break. All right, thanks, Dana. Congrats to Jimenez. It's good news. Nomar Mazara stands in, takes strike 1. Popular guy, Jimenez.
Very. Yeah.
Rangers fans loved him, and I know it was hard for a lot of them to see him go. Well, nice to see him having a little success right away with his new team, which really isn't all that new to him at all. This is his 3rd tour of duty, I think, with the Indians. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to Nomar, who did single in the first. 325 average, 6th in the American League. What a start it has been for Mazara, filling in for Shin-Soo Choo, who's with the club on this trip, working out, and today taking fly balls in the outfield and doing a little jogging, and claims to be feeling very good. As this ball bounced to first, they'll go second for 1. Tulowitzki back to first for the double play. And the 3-6-3 turned nicely behind Jay Happ, and we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Show Friday, May 13th. Red out the ballpark as the Rangers take on the Blue Jays in a 7:05 game. And then stick around for that Friday the 13th themed post-game fireworks show. Get your tickets now, TexasRangers.com, or call 972-RANGERS. A big inning for Derek Holland. They're all pretty big at this point for him, as he needs to chew up as many as he can. Trailing 5-1. Lefty's 1-0 to Troy Tulowitzki. Popped up. Not going to be enough room over there for Holiday or Moreland to make a play, but the count 1-1.
Yeah, Dave, we mentioned it before, but this is where Derek Holland really has to gather himself together and get determined to get through at least 5. And it's not going to be easy, but this is where a starter's job, you have to say, okay, what's happened has happened. I just have to pitch better now and do what's best for my ball club. And that's given him an opportunity to not have to use the bullpen for 6 or 7 innings.
There's 1-1. And he catches that low inside corner for strike 2 on Tulowitzki. And he's struck out 5 times in this series. 33 times already this season. And the average has dipped below 160. Nightmare of a start for Tulowitzki, and it's 2-2.
Is he up to now 0 for 21 against left-handers?
Yeah, which is unusual for him, because he's like 315 against lefties in his
last
career.
year. Well, last year, for sure. Yeah, he's been very, very good against left-handers, and that's an aberration.
Takes a swing, and yeah, on the appeal, Corey Blazer agrees. He didn't go. Full count. Big breath and exhale for that guy. It has not been fun for him, at least not offensively. Smashes that one into left though. Just the second hit in this 4-game series for Tulowitzki.
Yeah, they have both been about the same, the result of the same kind of pitch. A pitch pretty much in the middle of the plate. Tulowitzki has been able to get out in front and pull. Other than that, he has had trouble getting the barrel of the bat to most pitches. Out in front or behind, and it's been a real no man's land for Tulowitzki.
Well, he's on for a suddenly hot Russell Martin. First pitch in there for a strike. Martin singled in a run in the first, scored a run. He's 4 for 9 in limited time in this 4-game series. And he had the game-winning walk-off hit last night. 1-1.
Yeah, we talked about Martin having the bad neck, and he went into John Gibbons' office day before yesterday and said, "Look, Skip, I'm better. Let me play through this. He's put me in the lineup, and I'll let you know if I can't go. There's no sense being in and out and in and out. So go ahead and go with me."
It's this one pretty well to center field. Desmond has a beat on it though and makes a very good catch. Hustles it right back in. The one thing I love about Desmond in the outfield is there's no indecision once he has that ball, boy. He's getting it back in a hurry.
Yep, just like he's playing shortstop. He knows exactly where the throw is supposed to go, and he doesn't let it spend any time in his glove. He gets it out of there and fires it back in. Watch how quickly he gets rid of this. There is no play anyplace. He knows that. But he said, I got to get this ball back to the infield quickly and let them handle the ball because they're a lot closer to the runners than I am.
So 1 gone now for Darwin Barney. Barney in a platoon right now at second base with Ryan Goins. Goins just can't find it, at least against the Rangers offensively. So they finally said, "Oh, to heck with it. We'll let Barney get a start here." Now he's 0 for 3 in the series prior to tonight. But his numbers overall have been pretty decent.
Yeah, with the left-hander going tonight too, that made having Goins out there kind of a a lost cause. So without Devin Travis, their fine young second baseman, it's pretty much a platoon situation, as you suggested.
Gold Glover in the National League at second base when he was with the Chicago Cubs. But a guy who has been able to handle the bat as well. I mean, he's not going to carry a team like the Blue Jays, but he can contribute. Whereas Goins, he's just hasn't been able to find it. Bouncer to the hole, and that one rattles its way through. And Barney aboard with 1 out in the 4th inning. 2 men on now for the Blue Jays.
I think that went right off the tip of Adrian's glove. There was a little indecision on Adrian's part whether he should go for it, but he knew that ball was not hit slowly enough. That's going to be ruled an error. The ball was not hit sharply enough for Hanser Alberto to field it and try and get the runner at second. The little deflection, that's a tough error. But they're going to rule that an error on Adrian for reaching for it.
His first of the year. And to your point, boy, that's a tough way to get your first error.
I have a feeling that's going to be changed.
Yeah, and maybe not so much in defense of Beltre as much as the Blue Jays will go say, hey, Barney should get a hit for that.
Exactly.
We want him to have a hit.
Yeah.
Ezequiel Carrera now. He singled in that first inning. Had one of the 6 Blue Jays hits in that first 5-run inning. And bounces this one to the hole on the right side of the infield. Holland's got a hustle and he can't get there. Oh boy. That one goes as a base hit. Holland take a look on the replay.
The little indecision, Derek, I couldn't tell from the replay if he slowed down going to first or not. It looked like he got a pretty good break off the mound and should have been able to get there in time to take the throw like he was a first baseman. He may have slowed down. We'll get an idea from this angle. Derek maybe letting up there as he saw Mitch like he was ready to go to second base with the throw, and that would have been only natural for Holland to slow up just a bit. But the way things are going tonight, you can't afford any kind of little mistake.
No. Loaded now for Pilar. He'll take strike one. Pilar started the game with a base hit in the first inning. He ended that first inning with a fly ball to center. That ball hit down the left field line. It's trouble and bangs up against the fence. Tulowitzki's in, Barney on his heels, and it's a 2-run double for Pilar. Blue Jays just piling on.
Yeah, Pilar's second hit of the night, and again, Holland missing by just the full width of the plate where he was trying to throw that pitch. He was trying to go down and away and got it to the middle of the plate in. And Pilar very quick inside. He got that ball out of there in a hurry. And again, Cesar Ramos loosening in earnest out of the Ranger bullpen.
Doug Brocail with the jog out there to the hill. I have a word with Holland.
This time Doug's going to take the full allotment of 30 seconds. Give the bullpen a chance to continue their tosses.
By the way, a scoring change already. It was a base hit now for Darwin Barney. No longer an error on Adrian Beltre, so that didn't take long. 4 hits in the inning. 2 as infield hits. Now Josh Donaldson, first base empty. And Holland, not to continue to go back to the same point, Buzz, but It's a 6-run game. We all understand that. But sometimes a guy just gets sacrificed for the sake of the rest of the team. Not that the bullpen is chewed up to the point where they couldn't eat some innings here, but I do remember several years ago Tony La Russa leaving Jason Marquis out, and Marquis soaked up like 13 earned runs in a game. Now Marquis was that guy. He was at the end of his career. He knew this team that Cardinals team had a chance, and he was willing to take those earned runs and just say, look, you know, I'll save some arms. We're tired. That team eventually went on and won a World Series.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Ranger bullpen's in that kind of shape yet. That would be reserved for, you know, middle part of the year, maybe latter part of the year. But it has not been an easy time. They have the long men. They have Ramos, you saw loosening, and you also have Alex Claudio in a longer role. They're certainly available and fresh. And the bullpen, other than Barnett and Wilhelmsen, who worked last night, had the day off. So, you know, there are plenty of arms down there that can go tonight.
And I don't think there's a whole lot of mystery in the fact that they will get some work tonight. Just a matter of when. Jose Bautista now with the bases loaded. 0 for 1 with a walk. And a bouncer third. Beltre will have to settle for the force out of Pilar. Carrera in from third base. Bautista on via the fielder's choice. He'll get the RBI. 8-1 Blue Jays.
Yeah, if Adrian's able to come over that ball cleanly, that was a very tough hop. Came up, almost got him in the chest, got him in the stomach. But if he's able to come with that cleanly, that probably goes 5-4-3 for the double play. The inning's over. But again, as things are going tonight, you would figure that even the sure-handed Adrian Beltre can't come up with it cleanly.
So 3 runs across. 2 men out there for Edwin Encarnacion. And that might be the exclamation point tonight. Out there in the left center and gone. 3-run shot for Encarnacion. It's been that kind of night. Fifth home run of the year for the Blue Jays designated hitter, his second in this series, and here comes Jeff Bannister. That'll be it for Holland.
Just a night where Derek had no answer for a suddenly hot Toronto Blue Jay lineup. Derek maybe missing a little bit early, set the tone in the first inning, and Blue Jays came out swinging the bats, and Derek did not have an answer for that.
Tough one tonight. Bullpen coming on for the Rangers. Back on FS1 as the circuit heads to Kansas for racing under the lights at the GoBowling.com 400. Jimmie Johnson looking to defend his title from last year. All begins at 6 Eastern only on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. 11-1 here as Cesar Ramos has come on for the Rangers.
Ramos, that one outing with the Rangers a week ago, and it was a start. Did a very good job of coming in and getting the spot start in place of Cole Hamels.
Let's see, pop out into right field. 2 in the inning. That was easy. Here we go to the 4th inning. A lot of wood to chop for the Rangers. Will take place on Saturday, May 14th, following the Rangers Blue Jays game. Come out to Globe Life Park and see Cody Johnson, presented by Budweiser. Tickets and passes to watch the show from the field are available at texasrangers.com/concerts. Of course, don't forget to wear your red to the game to red out the ballpark as well. Saturday, May 14th. Well, 4th inning. Long way to go in this one tonight. But Toronto has opened a 10-run lead. Beltre, who scored the Rangers' lone run so far tonight, shoots this one foul. It's 0-2.
Yeah, and really now for the Rangers offense, you'd like to get some kind of momentum going. You've got certainly the ball game is reachable, but you've got a lot of work to do. A couple things that you want to say when you go on to the end of the bench in the 4th inning. And let's not let the starter get the win in this ball game. Let's knock him out of there and start from there. And not let's go in and score 10 real fast, but let's knock the starter out. Let's not let him get any further, and then get into that bullpen and see what happens. But little steps at a time.
Haps 1-2 to Beltre, and a ground ball to Tulowitzki. Got that good strong arm, gets Beltre, and there's one gone. Two-time Gold Glover in the National League. Blue Jays have enjoyed his defense. Just surprised his offense hasn't followed yet this year, as Prince Fielder stands in. Prince had a classic Prince Fielder at bat in the 1st inning. A shift on and runner in scoring position, just flicked the ball out into left field for a base hit to get that 1-run home. 1-0 from Happ. Ball 2. They do employ that exaggerated shift on the infield. Donaldson very lonely over on the left side of the diamond. Fielder hits this one high in the air, deep center field. Pilar, though, back there with room. 2 gone. It's 2 fly ball outs and a line drive out tonight for Jay Happ, who is one of those extreme ground ball pitchers. So somewhat of an oddity in that regard. He did get a big double play last inning, as he is wont to do. First pitch to Desmond. Up and in. Ian's been quiet in this series. 1 for 12 so far. Average has dipped down to 222. He's had moments. He's been a little streaky in the early part of the year. One thing is, whether he's having success or hitting into outs, it seems that he makes pretty consistent hard contact.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does, Dave. He's a very good hitter. Despite the 233, what that would tell you last year is average. He makes good, consistent hard contact.
And this one hit well down into the corner, and Carrera can't quite hold on to it. Desmond in at second with a double. Well, for a moment there, it looked like it might go. Then for a moment, it looked like it might have been caught.
Ball, player, and glove getting into the wall at the same time. And Carrera just had it knocked out of his glove ever so softly onto the track. Got there in time. He was jumping into the wall instead of jumping straight up. And Desmond, the beneficiary, with a double.
5th of the year for him. And here's Mitch Moreland. Rangers got their run in the first inning. And Desmond, the second base runner since. Is Happ, Happ, a big guy, 6'5", out there on the mound, a long lefty. I think would be challenging to these left-handed hitters. He gives you a good long look. He must feel 10 feet tall with 11 runs behind him already. Bouncer over to that right side of the infield. Tulowitzki, the shortstop, making the play though, and it ends the inning. A 2-out double by Desmond for 9. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. and by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. (11-1). What? I thought we said that these were all really close, tight games where every pitch mattered.
Oops.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. That was the case for 3 days. But tonight, the bats have awakened for the Blue Jays. Tulowitzki sends a routine grounder to Hanser Alberto at shortstop, and that is out number 1.
Well, you know, face it, the Rangers are going to have the same kind of thing happen on the road for them. They haven't swung the bats the way they can on the road this year, but you knew that Toronto was going to come to life, and it's a little bit easier, I think, at home because you get the positive vibe of the crowd getting behind you when you start a rally. So it's not really a surprise that the Blue Jays were able to get it going. It's unfortunate that the Rangers had to be in town when it happened.
And take that a step further, Buzz. So it happened here in Game 4. So be it.
Right.
The reality is they had an opportunity in the first 3 games. Now they got the win on Monday, but so tough in retrospect now to have let the last 2 nights get away from them. Russell Martin gets a single to center field. That now is the 11th hit. Well, they won't lose a count here.
12th hit. No, you're right about that, David. It hasn't been the pitching that has let this ball club down on the road. It has been the defense, and I mean the offense, and certainly that'll change. They're a better hitting ball club. The Rangers, speaking about the Rangers, they're a better hitting ball club than they have shown. But you know, you go into Chicago and get shut down 3 straight games. You can understand that. Pretty good pitching. They've seen pretty good pitching here. Not to the tune of Chicago, possibly, no. But still, it's been very effective against them. So hopefully that'll get itself worked out and start it tomorrow in Detroit.
No better time than this weekend. Pop up right side. That's going to be a long run for Odor and Mazar. Neither can get there. 0-2 on Darwin Barney.
And I'm not, by saying start in Detroit, I'm not giving up on tonight by any means, but Jay Happ looks to have things pretty well in hand, and being a veteran pitcher, he's not going to have the problem of not being able to pitch with the big league.
Well, and in fairness too, anyone can ask for a rally. Rare is the major league game where a team can summon 10 runs from the midpoint on. It just is a rare occurrence. This is a big hole. Cesar Ramos tries to keep it at this size, at least for the moment, in relief of Derek Holland, who had a tough one today. 11 runs on 11 hits, 3 walks, no strikeouts. It's just one of those games. 1-2 to Barney. This could be 2. Alberto to second, 1. Odor over to first. And it's a 6-4-3. Inning over. We'll go to the 5th. Rangers trail by 10.
Center in Toronto, Ontario, the home of hockey, as we mentioned earlier, and the home of the Hockey Hall of Fame. If you come here, you need to visit the Hall of Fame. There it is. It's in an old bank building. In the 1880s, it was built as a bank building. So if you have a bank, you have a vault, right? So what's in the vault? That would be the original Lord Stanley's Cup that is inside the vault, inside the Great Hall, or the bank building. It's been added on to since then. And then, of course, the Stars are well represented throughout the Hall of Fame. There are several in there, you know, that played for the Stars as Ryan Rua steps in, Joe Nieuwendyke's in there, Eddie Belfour. And how about this guy? Mike Modano, the most recent Dallas Star to have gone into the Hall of Fame. They've got an interactive area, so I donned the hockey version of the Tools of Ignorance, and I took some shots. Alex Ovechkin was actually shooting off a video screen at me, and a lot of pucks went behind me. A couple actually went off my head, guys, which is why I've been so goofy this game. Let's get it back to you.
Wow. Did you flag any down? Did you make any glove saves?
I think they shot 6 at me. The goalkeeper's best friend, the post, helped me once. I blocked 1, and 4 went behind me. So, you know.
I'm not educated enough to know. Is that good? It's probably not good, right?
It was as good as I could do.
Wow. That's good work right there. I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I'd be able to stop 1. Those get after you in a hurry as Ryan Rua strikes out to start the 5th inning. Jay Happ working with a comfortable lead now in this 5th, and pitch count well in check.
Well, I was impressed that John kind of went old school, no mask or anything. He was taking the pucks on. That's good.
Brian Holiday. I wish we'd thought about it in time to maybe get you over there and get you in the pads and try and block a few. I was talking to Buck Martinez today, who is the analyst this week anyway for the Blue Jays. Oftentimes they're play-by-play guy. There's Buck on the left. And Buck, a great major league catcher, caught you. In fact, he said he caught you in the minor leagues in Omaha.
Yep.
And Buck said the one thing about Buzz, that he wasn't confident everybody knew. He said you could do anything. Golf, scratch golfer. Football, get out of his way. Hoops, it didn't matter. You could do anything. And he marveled at your pickoff move to third base and your first third move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you got to have a lot of people on to practice those, and we did.
See,
hardest part was getting somebody to stop at third. They wanted to keep on going.
Holiday down on strikes, 2 away. And that is the 4th strikeout tonight for Jay Happ. I got you. So that's that whole thing about, you know, guys like Happ who get a lot of ground ball or double play ground balls. The other part of that equation is that you have to be guys on base, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
First pitch swinging, and Alberto sends that one to center field. Pilar coming on, and he'll just keep running right into the dugout. A 1-2-3 inning for Jay Happ. teaming up to bring you savings at the ballpark this season. Bring a Dr. Pepper can to the box office or use the online coupon code Dr. Pepper and receive savings of up to 29% on most Sunday through Thursday games. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials to get your tickets for May 9th through the 11th when the Rangers play the Chicago White Sox. Beginning of that next homestand. Well, look, little fella. Prince is going to be due fourth in the next half inning. Maybe, just maybe it'll happen for the guy. It's his 5th birthday. Carrera today, 2 for 2. And he takes a strike from Ramos. Cesar Ramos came on to face Justin Smoke in the 3rd inning, get that final out. Got a double play in the 4th to help expedite things. And ahead of Carrera 1 and 2 to start at the bottom of the 5th. Just his 2nd outing of the year. Ramos 6'2", 200 pounds. 31 years old. Began his career with the Padres. Recently spent parts of 4 seasons with Tampa Bay and then the White Sox last year. Put up really good numbers last season too for Chicago. 65 relief appearances, a 275 earned run average. The lefties 1-2. Weak bouncer, Moreland, and a great bare hand grab by Ramos on his way to first. Boy, that's saving a base runner right there. Moreland just about hung him out, but tell you what, you're on the run to first. They work on those PFPs, pitchers fielding practice, all the time, especially in spring training. That's one play they don't work on a lot right there. The throw behind you, catch it with your bare hand. Nicely done. Pilar takes ball 1. Good night tonight for Pilar. 6 hits in this series. And Moreland can't quite get to that one. Fair ball as Mazara will track it down, and Pilar with his 3rd hit of the night.
Well, Pilar doing his Willie Mosconi imitation with that Massey shot down the first baseline. That ball was going to be foul halfway to first, and the extra spin on it kept it straight. Well, when you get things going right,
there's no doubt about it.
Tough to counteract.
Everything falling perfectly for the Blue Jays. Lead 11-1, and now Josh Donaldson will step in. 1 for 2 with a walk. He has scored a couple of times and trying to pad his power numbers with that swing. He loves facing lefties. Donaldson hitting nearly 420 against them. And it's 1-1. Of course, in recent years, he hasn't complained about really any pitching. Not many who can quiet his bat. Reigning American League MVP, in the 1-1 to him. Puts it high in the air. Not too far underneath this one, though, as Desmond tracks it. Pilar will tag at second, head to third, and he's in there. 2 away, though. We have a moment. Let's send it back to Dana Larson in the studio for a Chevy game break. All right, thanks, Dana. Rangers were up 1-0 at one point in this game.
Yes, they were.
I remember it like it was just a couple innings ago. Here's Bautista. 0 for 2, but he has scored 2 runs. And he has been held in check in this series. I think the fact that the Blue Jays have won the last 2 nights has helped lighten his mood just a little bit. But first couple of games in this series, he was not enjoying his at-bats, certainly the results of his at-bats anyway. Facing Ramos for the first time tonight. This one right off the end of his bat. Moreland will take it to the bag himself, and the inning is over. Yeah, another tough night at the plate for Bautista, but not for the Blue Jays in general. For the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot, $2,500 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Wilsey Garn of Wills Point, Texas will win $2,500. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, well, Wilsey's going away with 25 grand. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. And that would be exciting for Wilsey. It'd be twice excitement tonight if Prince Fielder were able to be that guy, because there's a 5-year-old here who's asking for that home run specifically. Odor with a bouncer right to second base. Darwin Barney on top of it, 1 away.
A 5-year-old asking for the home run.
And here's my thing: if a 5-year-old is asking for anything, you give it to him.
Yeah, spoken like a true parent.
You just take care of that kid. And this kid, I had a shot of him earlier. He looks like a handful. He's got a lot of personality. On his little sign out over the railing. Not sure if Prince saw it or not, though, as Nomar stands in and the Big Chill takes ball 1. I know that Fielder, if he knew that kid wanted a home run, he'd do it. 1-1 now on Mazara. There's our guy. He hasn't stopped talking since they came in today. I mean, he's been going a mile a minute over there. Two and 1 to Mazara. Beltre would be next. Rangers need base runners and a whole lot of them. This one will result in a base runner. It'll flare out into left field. Mazara's second hit of the ball game. Hey, Saturday on Fox Sports 1, Major League Baseball returns with the defending American League West champion Texas Rangers taking on the Detroit Tigers. All the action begins at 11:30 a.m. on Fox Sports 1. Or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. So the crew from FS1 will be there on Saturday. Jimmy Albert, Tom Verducci, they'll have to call that one, weather permitting. Beltre turns away from ball one. 0 for 2 tonight, but he has scored the Rangers run. Beltre just 3 hits shy of 2,800 in his career. Fine ball to Pilar. Results in the second out of the inning. And here comes Prince. Now my question is that, yeah, now you watch it a little closer, fella. This is your guy. The uni and everything.
Oh, look out.
Oh, there's a shot for Fielder. His second hit of the night. He's had great career numbers against Prince Fielder, but has never hit a home run, rather, off Cole Hamels. Or even Jay Happ. We'll figure it out sooner or later.
It's a good thing Happ is as thin as he is. A normal sized person would have gotten taken into center field with that bolt. Goodness gracious.
Did you ever get hit?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was in a rather awkward position when I finished my delivery to home plate, and I get hit in the legs all the time.
Did you ever have to leave a game because the ball hit back at you?
No. I wasn't that smart. Stay in for further punishment.
Yeah. Rub some dirt in it. Mazara's second, Fielder first, and here's Ian Desmond. Doubled his last time up. Ball hard down in that left field corner. And this one bounced right to the second baseman Barney, and it ends the inning. Couple of base runners, but nothing else doing as Jay Happ cruising tonight with a 10-run lead. Blue Jays advantage. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Time for our TXU Energy power player to watch. Yeah, well, this guy, Edwin Encarnacion, only has 6 RBIs tonight in those last 10 games against the Rangers. Maybe he can get a day off every now and then. Hammers that one into left field. Base hit and more. It'll be his 2nd double of the night to go along with his 3-run homer. Rangers made some defensive changes this half inning as well. That's Desmond out there at left now. Rua has come in to play third base. The Shields in at center. So Beltre getting the rest of the night off. He could stand to take a little time off himself right there. Encarnacion. That's a big night. My goodness, that's a big week. What is that? 8 total bases and 6 RBIs so far tonight. Well, Justin Smoke, interestingly enough, he's the guy having trouble tonight. Came in 6 for 11 in this series. Single-handedly won the game for him on Tuesday night. A couple of home runs in the 9th and 10th inning. That game. Bouncer up the middle. Play for Alberto, and he throws over to first. Out number 1. Ramos has done a nice job in relief.
Yeah, he has, and it's a good spot to let's see if they're kind of stretch it back out again. He'd have the 6 or 7 days off, and you want him to be available to you in case you need a spot start, but also in a long relief role like that. And unless you have a situation like this arise every once in a while where you can go ahead and let him go out there and throw, it's hard for him to get the kind of work that's going to maintain that endurance.
Left-hander will deal with Troy Tulowitzki now. Tulowitzki 1 for 3 tonight. And more looks at left-handed pitchers for him, which has been a real hallmark in his career, but not this year. His first hit against a lefty this season came tonight. And it's 1-1.
Yeah, we talk about changing leagues, and Tulowitzki came over last year and found that to be a little bit problematic for him at times, changing leagues, new pitchers and that kind of thing. But this year, even more so than it was for him last year. And I think it's more difficult, at least here's what tell you, going from the National League to the American League. American League has always had the reputation of more off-speed pitches, more guys willing to throw a 2-0 breaking ball or a 3-1 breaking ball. And coming from the National League to the American League, and National League is typically a fastball league where you almost always get the fastball in a fastball count. Very few guys pitch backwards. So I think hitters have a tough time making that adjustment right away.
2-1 from Ramos. Oh, candy hop right there for Hanser. High throw. Only able to bring it down 2 away. Do you think that the those old stereotypes, right, which were true, are they starting to blend a little more over time? Are you seeing a little bit less of that real definitive difference league to league?
Yeah, I think you are, Dave, and I think it started, or it's really become apparent when the umpires were melded into one group. You didn't have National League umpires and American League umpires any longer. There was a reason that the games were called the way they were. National League umpires adopted the inside chest protector, the smaller chest protector. They umpired on the inside shoulder of the catcher. They were down lower, and as a result called lower strikes. Whereas the American League umpires had those big balloon chest protectors, stood right behind the catcher, looking straight down, and they were more of a high ball calling group, where the corners were not always consistent. But so there was a valid reason for it, but it is changing And slowly but surely, it's getting a little bit different.
Rua with the play down at third base, and that completes the inning. For Cesar Ramos will go to the 7th inning. Two-out RBI single to left of the first inning, and the Rangers had the lead again early on. But bottom of the first, Edwin Encarnacion clears the bases with that double. 3-run double, the highlight of a 5-run inning. Well, it'd be same man in the third, and this a 3-run homer, which was the big moment in a 6-run inning. 6 RBIs for Encarnacion, and Blue Jays lead it 11-1 in the 7th.
You know, I told you how much I hate that sound.
Yeah. Yeah, and it picks up really well in this ballpark, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Great effects, Mike, behind home plate, unfortunately.
Wake up at night sometimes with that crack.
Wake up at night in a cold sweat, twitching. And my neck is sore from my head spinning around to look for the ball.
Moreland 0 for 2.
Still to this day.
Well, lost in all the offense tonight, and there has been a lot. It has been Jay Happ pitching pretty effectively for Toronto, just continuing what he's been doing now for, well, going back to last year. The last now 16 starts have been really sharp. And it is 2-2 on Moreland. And he gets a strikeout of Moreland to start the 7th inning. Well, Rangers and White Sox going to get together on Wednesday, May 11th. It's a day game, a 105 game. Take your lunch break out of the ballpark. Enjoy all the dollar hot dogs you can eat, courtesy of our friends at Texas Chili Company. Check it out at TexasRangers.com. Get your tickets there, or call 972-RANGERS. Here's Ryan Rua. 0 for 2 tonight against Happ. Now, I got to believe that Blue Jays fans, if they had a big offseason, got to Game 6 of the AL Championship Series against the Royals, and I think there was a lot of excitement. And then, you know, David Price goes to Boston as a free agent, and I'm sure that was bothersome to fans. Blue Jays went out and in free agency then signed Jay Happ. A little tapper toward third. Donaldson with a bare hand on the charge, and he gets Ryan Rua. Nice play.
Well, again, on this artificial turf, you know you're going to get a bounce that's going to come up for you. You don't have to worry about the ball staying down. And Donaldson played that very well. Not an easy play by any means, but it is a little bit facilitated by the ball coming up consistently off the turf.
A nice true bounce that you can get off the turf. No question. Here's Brian Holiday. You know, on paper though, you leave that off season, the Blue Jays, you're thinking, okay, well, no David Price, but we've got Jay Happ. Now that is not the type of thing that's going to get people real pumped up.
Yeah.
Down at Dunedin during spring training, but he's proven to be every bit the replacement for David Price, at least to this point of the season.
Yeah, that's not the kind of move that's going to allay all your concerns, but the way he has pitched is certainly going to go a long way toward that. And the problem that the Blue Jays have is selling it to the fans. The fans don't feel like Marcus Stroman or any of the other starters they happen to have are top-notch starters. And I have to disagree. I think Stroman is up and coming, going to be one of the best in the game of baseball. And certainly, you know, we saw it last night. Osuna coming into a ball game is as good a closer as there is, as good a stuff as any closer around. So, you know, they've got the makings of a pretty good staff here in Toronto. It hasn't started off that way this year with the bullpen struggling, but it's not for lack of quality. I think they're going to get that together. And with this offense, as explosive as it is, that bullpen is not going to have as many close games as other teams would have.
Well, I think both bullpens, the Blue Jays and the Rangers right now, maybe taking some heat because they have been at the back end of these close games, and they've both taken 9 losses, and that doesn't look good and it doesn't feel good. But I think on both sides, it's largely a product of a lack of offense. I mean, they just, with tonight being the exception, but there's been so much pressure. I was looking through today. Here we go again. Here's my piece of paper. But games that have been decided by more than 3 runs this year for the Rangers, it's only happened 9 times.
Yeah.
They've done well in those games. They're 6-3. Everything else, 19 games decided by 3 runs or fewer, and the preponderance of them like 1 or 2 runs. This one sent out to left field by Alberto, tracked down by Carrera. That's a lot of pressure on the bullpen to be in a 1-run game every night. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. There are a couple of the big storylines. Cubs, no back-to-back losses yet this year. Mike Trout trying to reclaim his title as best player in baseball again. And he's been on a run. As we begin play, bottom of the 7th. Darwin Barney shoots it right to Hanser Alberto, and just one away. Corey Kluber shutting out the Tigers. That's nice to see. Maybe that Tigers offense will take the weekend off. Kluber 16 ground ball outs in that one last night. Well, right when the internet decided last week, or maybe a week and a half ago, that Trout was not the best player in baseball, it was all Bryce Harper. Harper has gone into a slide, and Trout is retaking the mantle. One 0 to Carrera. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, there's kind of a movement afoot too to start including Manny Machado in that conversation. And I with good reason. You know, people back east, I think, are starting to say, wait a minute now, you got to throw Machado in there. I mean, he's you know, you look at the numbers and he certainly stacks up well.
Good at defensive third baseman, very good offensively. I'll tell you another guy, throw the name Nolan Arenado in there.
Yeah,
that's another great young player out in Colorado. What a talent at third base. Pretty darn good all around baseball right now. 2-2. The other thing on that Cubs note, 20-6. And they haven't lost back-to-back games this year, and everyone's talking about breaking down every number they can on the Cubs. The run differential at this point, all these historic I don't know, levels that they have reached already. What a day today in the Windy City. 4 first-place teams. White Sox hosting the Red Sox. Cubs were hosting the Nationals. And according to Elias, it's the first time in Major League history you've had 4 first-place teams in one city on the same day, which surprises me. Just going back to New York back in the day, I figured it might have happened.
Not to have 4 of them.
Well, I guess you wouldn't have. There's no chance to have 4 of them. Well, okay, so Major League history, nothing. We're talking like the first time in the last, I don't know what,
40
some years.
69, I think, was the first time you could have had that.
Well, that's not that impressive then. I don't even like that note now. Full count on Carrera. Ramos done a very nice job in relief. He's allowed just 3 base runners since coming on to mop up that 3rd inning and make it 4 as he walks Carrera. All right, let's try somebody else with some more interesting news. Back to the studios. Dana Larson. It's a Chevy game break. See, Dana, thank you. That's what we're talking about. Take a 1-run lead in the 1st inning. Oh, that doesn't mean too much. So Seattle battling back in that one right now with a 1.5-game lead in the West. As Pilar shoots it up the middle. Alberto's going to go to second himself and complete the double play with a strike over to first. Inning over for Ramos, doing a great job as we head to the 8th. stats. Well, here you go. Tomorrow, the Rangers head to Detroit. See the Tigers and Jordan Zimmerman tomorrow. Look at that. Earned run average of .055. And that's how things will begin in Detroit tomorrow for this Rangers offense. In hopes of getting things started there. The offense on the road has had a tough time. Of course, that guy, Cole Hamels, he'll have the ball for the Rangers, and he's been pretty darn good himself.
Another marquee pitching matchup for us. Chad Girardo, young left-hander, is coming to the ball game now to take over for Jay Happ, who went the first 7 innings. Girardo made his major league debut a little bit earlier in the year. That was against the Athletics on the 21st. A couple of shutout innings. He is in here to face the Rangers in the 8th inning.
Joined the team yesterday, did not pitch in the game. He has the top of the order in this 8th inning. Brewer has been collared tonight in 3 at-bats. And now in a hole 1 and 2. Last 6 games in the leadoff spot for Rougned, though. 11 for 27. 4 doubles, a homer. He scored 6 runs. Well, nothing doing so far tonight for him. Girardo gets him to chase one for strike 3, and that is the first out of this 8th inning. All right, taking a look at our Progressive upcoming schedule. Rangers will be happy to get back south of this border and see the Detroit Tigers over the weekend. We got Zimmerman and Hamels tomorrow. Once we get through that 3-game series, back home for a stretch. A little tapper over the right side, and that one wrestled to the ground by Girardo, but no play. And Mazara will be on. Presumably on a base hit.
Girardo coming off the mound pretty quickly and got there in plenty of time. Just hit the eject button in his glove. Popped that thing right back out. And that's going to be an error on the pitcher.
First error in the game. We had one earlier, but it was wiped out. In fact, it's only the 2nd error in this series. Nomar on. And here is Delino DeShields for the first time tonight. Came into play center field a couple innings ago. Going to struggle offensively for Delino. Struggle on the bases too, which has drawn a lot of attention. 1-1 the count. Now Ryan Goins is coming to play short this inning for the Blue Jays. So Tulowitzki getting the rest of the evening off. Both teams using the bench a little bit. Number to third, and the second one, the relay in time. Very difficult to double up the speedy Delino DeShields, but they get it done to make a quiet 8th inning out of the Rangers.
got to the bottom of the 8th inning, and barring some sort of a historic comeback, the Rangers will be glad to wash this one off and head to Detroit. It's a short flight, not too far to the west of here. AT&T high-speed internet reminds us that tomorrow night's game is right here on Fox at 6 o'clock. That's a great matchup there with two of the best hitters in the game. And Dave already mentioned the matchup of pitchers between Cole Hamels and Jordan Zimmermann tomorrow night. Lots of good matchups and a chance for the Rangers to forget about this one quickly. It's all tomorrow beginning at 6 right here on Fox, guys.
Thanks, John. Yeah, Phil Klein has come on to pitch in this 8th inning now for the Rangers.
Well, Phil's had a couple of rough outings in a row, and he's trying to knock off that and get himself back and get the ship righted. 4.70 ERA for the right-hander. He has had all that damage done his last 2 times out. Just a couple of short innings.
He'll deal with the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Toronto. It means Edwin Encarnacion eventually, who has had the big night, 3 for 3 with 6 RBIs. 11-1 Toronto. Another oddity of tonight's game is that Holland and Ramos, and by the way, Ramos very good in relief, neither of them struck out a Blue Jay yet tonight.
Right. And that would be a telltale sign that this Toronto lineup is getting back together. You know, when you have a game like this, and I know it's just one game, but when left-handers have not a whole lot of success against this Toronto lineup, it means for the to a man they're starting to swing the bat pretty well.
4-pitch walk to Donaldson. That's how we start the bottom of the 8th inning. And here's Bautista. A little better than 35,000 on hand tonight. 35,468. It was a t-shirt giveaway tonight. Giveaway. Well, the t-shirt anyway had a image of the Blue Jays celebrating on the field after that Game 5 victory last year in the American League Division Series. I wonder how and why that ended up being timed for today's game.
Did they have the bat flip on there?
They did not.
No, okay.
2-0 as Klein hasn't found the strike zone yet. Cesar Ramos, by the way, 4 1/3 innings of shutout ball. Allowed 3 hits and the 1 walk. Klein's 2-0. Another ball. Well, they got a big crowd tonight. They saw a lot of Blue Jays offense. And now the fans have, well, we've done just about everything else. Seen just about everything we want to see. Let's do the wave. Klein misses on all 4 to Bautista. Well, let's see our AT&T high-speed replay. We go back to the 3rd inning. Make it quick. There it is, a 3-run shot by Encarnacion. And that was the final moment for Derek Holland. Knocked him out of the game. It was the last scoring that would be done today for either team. For the 6-run 3rd inning. He's up there with a couple of men on. And Klein really struggling to find the strike zone.
Encarnacion went up there looking for a fastball, and he was dead certain he was going to get one, and Klein threw him a slider. And that may be one of the weakest swings you'll ever see Encarnacion take.
He looked dumbfounded even as he finished his swing. Strike pitch. And that one is turned foul. So jumped ahead of Encarnacion. 0-2. Prince Fielder is due to lead off the 9th inning for the Rangers. gives that 5-year-old fan somewhere out there a little hope. All is not lost, Youngin. 2-strike pitch. And they wanted it up. Two home runs in the series for Encarnacion. Did he go? No, on the appeal. Corey Blazer calms down. Chance for Klein to get a little work in tonight.
You'd like for him to have an outing that he can build on, and so far he's been struggling finding his release point. His mechanics are a bit off. You got that one, Dave?
Almost.
Yeah. But it's a good test for Phil. See if he can make the proper adjustments out there without having Doug Brocail have to come out and suggest a few things to him. This gets frustrating for a pitcher when you're not throwing the ball the way you want to, and you get an opportunity like Phil has tonight, and it's just not there for you. And you want so badly to throw strikes to get yourself back in that groove. We'll see if Phil can get that accomplished.
Encarnacion fights off another one. Stays 2-2.
It seems like the harder you try, the worse it gets.
Big right-hander. With Brian Holiday. Likes the signs. And the 2-2. High in the air, but to medium deep right field. Mazzara hauls it in, 1 away. Well, Buzz, might be time for us to get right to what appears now to be the highlight of tonight's game.
I had forgotten all about that. I was in mourning over here. And
got a real nice note today and a package delivered to the booth from Ron and Pat Adams. They were on a little bit of trip from Colleyville, and they went out to see Niagara Falls. They went to Cooperstown. Niagara Falls apparently on Pat's bucket list. Ron had Cooperstown on his. Hey, worked out perfectly.
There you go.
And now they came to the ball game tonight. That's where they could really meet. I said, all right, this is on both of our bucket lists. Let's go to Rogers Center. Yeah.
That's perfect.
And they brought us some candy bars.
Did you know that the Hall of Fame has its own candy bar?
I did not.
I didn't either.
1-1 on Justin Smoke. Yeah, so a very cool candy bar. It's got the Hall of Fame on the label. Picture of the Hall of Fame along with the logo. Crushing 1 or 2 of those.
The official candy bar of Cooperstown.
Yeah. You know that? I don't know if they can get that, but that's a. Can you see that right there though? That's the Hall of Fame. That's the closest I've ever gotten. Really nice of them though. Thank you. Pat run is a base hit out of the center field. Justin Smoke drives in Donaldson and makes it 12-1. Toronto. I would imagine, Buzz, that even though, Phil's out there to try and work on some stuff in the game situation, get himself, back under control again, back into a rhythm. I would imagine sometimes games like tonight can be difficult for guys coming out of the pen.
Well, maybe they can be, but they better not be. I mean, if you want to stick around, they've got plenty of guys that they're willing to throw in there. But this is not the time to work on stuff. You work on stuff on the side and whatever else. Your job when you come out of the bullpen, no matter what the situation is, get people out. And that's what Phil's trying to do. But you know, if you go out there with the mindset, okay, well, this game's out of reach, and I just have to, you know, throw a strike here and there and try this and try that, that's not going to work. You've still got major league hitters that are not going to lay down for you. They're going to take every opportunity to beat your brains in.
1 strike pitch. And it's 1-1.
It's not like a spring training game.
No. Goins first at bat tonight. And gave Tulowitzki a little bit of a breather at the end of this one. Berkeley grounder up the middle. Alberto to second. One in the relay from Odor. Another Rangers double play. They lead the world in turning those. Last chance, though, coming up at the top of the 9th. Prince Fielder will lead it off. Point. Things are going to continue to be tough tomorrow when the team heads to Detroit for the first of 3 with the Tigers. All right, we'll see how this one finishes up here tonight. Fielder, Desmond Moreland. Ryan Tepera is the new pitcher for Toronto.
You know, Tepera gave up a run in his inning of work against the White Sox back on the 27th. So Tepera trying to close this one out.
Good fastball, but off the plate to Fielder, who is 2 for 3 tonight. Drove in the only Rangers run. That was back in the first inning, a point at which they led 1-0. Big swing here. That one shot out to left center, but playable for Carrera. One gone. You can follow the Rangers live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. One away for Desmond. And today, 1 for 3 with a double. Playing straight up on the infield. Parrott gets him to foul that one off. 1-1.
You know, Tepera, another one of those guys in the Blue Jay bullpen that has a big arm. He's been throws very hard, as you can tell. He's a Houston native, and up and down last year a couple of times with the Blue Jays.
Nice slow chopper, and it's just 2. Get Desmond. Good job by Goins. Charge out 1, 2 away.
Goins getting a nice true hop to him up there just about chest high, and made that play a lot easier than would be on natural grass. Even with the dirt surface still coming off that turf, it gives you the opportunity to have a real good idea how that's going to bounce to you.
So last chance for the Rangers. And Moreland takes it tight for ball 1. Tepera, 28 years old. They'll appeal that check swing. It looked like Drake threw a fist up there, did he not? We call that a ball.
He called that a ball.
Two and 1. Moreland hitless so far tonight. So the Rangers will eagerly put this one behind them. I think changing venue will be nice. Kind of a short travel night to Detroit. It's a short trip, although the added complication, I guess, of customs will make it a little bit longer in terms of time elapsed. But they'll be happy to get back to the States and see what they can do against the Tigers. Detroit currently second in the Central, 4 games out going into play today. The 1 at low, the 2-2. Certainly low. Full count. Now this was quite a series. First 3 games, no breathing room for anybody. And all 3, all the way down to the last pitch of each game. Tonight, finally a lopsided affair between these 2 teams. And it became lopsided early, a 5-run first inning. And then 6 in the 3rd. Rangers have been able to coast since then. Added a run in the 8th inning. Tepera, the 3rd pitcher of the night, trying to finish this off for Jay Happ. Moreland will extend it though. Base hit to left center. Rangers have a runner. Now Ryan Rua. Moreland showing some good fight. See if Rua can keep things moving. Little bouncer up the middle. Could be a tough play. In fact, gets through. Base hit. It's a consecutive 2-out singles for the Rangers. Little things, Buzz.
Yeah,
little things.
Yeah, it's a tough time of the game if you're on the short end of that 12-1 score. But again, these guys are professionals. They're going to go up and try as hard as they possibly can to get a base hit. And who knows? Maybe something good will happen. That deficit will be reduced.
Here's Holiday. Holiday walked his last time up. But it's been a struggle for him. Hitless now in his last 17 at bats. Again, one strike away. Holliday and the Rangers just don't want to let him have that moment.
No.
I like it.
Nope. Comes down to personal pride. Don't want to make it easy on anybody.
Well, everybody up. Tara and Martin can't seem to agree on the signs. That's great. So the fans are booing any step out and delay. Going their own team right there for that one. Come on. 0-2. They struck out in the second, didn't get in the fifth. Both those though against Jay Happ, who went 7 strong. Bouncer left side, that one is through, a base hit. Spike Owens going to go ahead and wave Moreland to the plate. He scores 3 consecutive 2-out singles.
A good job by Brian Holliday fighting off a tough pitch and able to find a hole on the left side. Get the RBI, and Brian Holliday needed that, and the Rangers really needed that.
Good strong finish now. That was huge for Holliday just to put an end to that 0 for 17.
Yep.
Rangers 1 for 3 tonight. Elvis Andrus today got the night off, and it just seemed like a good night for Jeff Bannister. Although Andrus and Bannister said it too. He said his back was barking at him a little bit after last night, so I figured tonight would be a good one to give him the evening off. Hansers played in his stead. Elvis be back in there tomorrow. Two-strike pitch. We're grinding away. Moreland with a 2-out, 2-strike situation, single to left. Rua followed with a base hit up the middle, and then Holliday brought a run home with his single to left. Humberto will go down swinging, and that's how this one ends. Rangers, though, scratch out a run in the 9th inning. They go down fighting. With this one pretty well determined by the 3rd inning. 12-2 Blue Jays over the Rangers to take this 4-game series. We'll be back to wrap it up in a minute.